All right, you guys ready?
If I can get Alex, then I know it's a good one.
And 3, 2, 1, action.
Good? Are we good?
You guys gonna start talking?
I thought you were gonna. I thought you were taking a 5-second loop, and then you were gonna loop it 1,200 times, so it's an hour long, and then you were gonna get voice actors to do the commentary.
That sounds. I mean, isn't that how they do all of them?
That's how I thought they did it in like Hollywood and stuff.
No.
It's Klayton, aka Celldweller,
And Bret, who is Blue Stahli.
and welcome to the Live Upon a Blackstar commentary. In 2010-2011, Bret and I were the only members of the Celldweller live show. So we decided to put our brains together and our memories, which are failing us, and recap and recount the entire video. Lots of behind the scenes information, and lots of stuff you wanted to know.
And probably a lot of stuff you didn't, but you're watching it anyway.
Let's jump in. Well, that brings back some memories.
My God, yes it does.
Wow, look at how technical you look.
Oh, but I almost look like I know what I'm doing.
I do too. I'm putting that thing in my ear. It's like, wow, how does he even know how to do that?
Hey, people who are excited for something, maybe not us, but something.
Probably not. I think that was taken from like a Depeche Mode concert.
Probably. I'd be excited for Depeche Mode.
This was totally hijacked.
Good Lord, Slender Man walking back through there.
I remember that was Utah. I think that was a Utah show.
That was
when
Utah.
you were doing Monkey Boy and we were kind of just running around. We had all that big warehouse space.
Yep, took my shirt off, ran around.
Yes, that was a good time. This through the gates. I mean, I don't know how we could even really kick this whole thing off by talking about the tech or how the show was built or why the show was built without first telling the essential Through the Gates tour story. I think people need to know, because at any party or gathering that we're at, which are very few, we do tell the story. And most of the time we soil our pants in laughter because it's the most ridiculous thing that you would never want to believe that either of us were capable of doing. But we did it. So what happened in Denver, Colorado?
It's pretty much our Spinal Tap story. There are many, but this is our Spinal Tap story.
Happening right now during this song. Envision this, please.
Yeah, so just all of what you're seeing now, go back and watch it after hearing this story. We play that show with in-ears. So we have wireless packs on and we hear a mix of the backing track and all of what we're doing in perfect crystal clear clarity. So we don't rely on the house sound or monitors or anything like that. Like what the audience hears doesn't matter to us. We hear everything perfectly represented as if you're hearing it.
We never have stage volume. There's no stage volume for us.
No. And well, the big dramatic opening to the entire show that sets the stage for what you're about to see and be this big cinematic experience.
To a packed club.
There were
on
people
like a Tuesday night in Denver. We were like, what is going on?
Surprisingly, a lot of people there.
Right, it's great.
So the way that the show begins is that I walk out on stage and trigger the show, and some music swells up and the screens start to come to life, and then Clay comes out and plays plays the tribal drum parts in Through the Gates. But in sound check, our on-stage mixer, the volume going out to the house, the drums were mic'd, but the volume going out to the house had been turned all the way down. So the crowd could hear absolutely zero of any of that.
I think there were crickets. There were crickets chirping.
Probably.
And they did hear my drums, because I think my drums were mic'd through the house.
Your drums were mic'd. We heard everything perfectly, so everything just sounded like the way that the show is supposed to be, but the crowd heard nothing. Nothing! What you're seeing, hit mute right now and look at the video.
Hit mute and watch Through the Gates and pretend you are in Denver watching us play. Because we are doing exactly what you're seeing on the video, where we're just rocking out and we're headbanging and giving the horns like we are the most powerful superheroes in the universe. And everyone is looking at us confused. The good news was, though, at the end of the show, everyone congratulated us on kicking off the entire show with our comedy routine. So we were congratulated and looked at as heroes and geniuses because we started the entire show with our comedy Spinal Tap routine where we just kind of mimed playing the show. And I could only imagine what these people saw. To this day, I wish somebody in Colorado, in Denver, if you're at that show and you have flip phone footage, iPhone footage, whatever the technology was in 2010, I can't remember. It's so long ago.
Yes.
Upload it, share it. We have to see ourselves rocking out to complete silence.
I'm so shocked that I haven't seen it already. And there's so many things that, like, yes, while we're both on keyboards just going insane, they would hear any noise that we make as we're jumping around. And I specifically remember pointing over at you and going, "You rock!" So everyone heard that. You're welcome.
Oh. Well, there was the Through the Gate story that took us
Yeah.
all the way into The Best It's Gonna Get versus Tainted. So we're probably, I don't even know where we are in this song. We're like halfway through.
It's most likely, which is when the sound came back. It was just around the time when guitars had
What
come out.
happened is, in between the break where I'm switching instruments and you're putting on your guitar, my tour manager ran over and he tells me to take my in-ear out. And I pop out, I'm like, what? And he's like, "There's no sound!" And then my heart dropped into my pants. And then I realized, I looked down at the mixer and was like, yep, somebody turned on the master fader. So anyway, there's the great story. We probably should move on before everybody cries or
Completely
laughs themselves
tunes
to
out.
death.
They're
Or
like,
falls
oh, these
asleep.
guys are idiots.
Yeah, right.
Why do we follow them?
Right, you should never do anything like that.
No.
Well, this I remember, this is the whole part of, this was like the embodiment of what I wanted the show to be. I'm like, I don't want to play the songs off my debut with a 5-piece band. The reason I stopped touring to begin with is because I was sick and tired of playing metal clubs, playing with metal bands. I couldn't care any less about any of that. So I just was done. I just didn't want to play anymore. And I remember the night. Some movie came out and it was this really trying too hard cyberpunk trying to kind of knock off Mad Max. It was a good movie for, like, we got something out of it. It was really cool. But I was like, hey, I'm gonna go see this movie, come with me. So we go see this movie and I was like, you know, I've been thinking about touring again, but I just can't do this. And we just started talking and Brett's just like, well, why don't you just do a one-man show? Just do a remix version and just play all the instruments yourself. And
It's what you do anyway. It's what you're known for.
it's what
Like,
I do, but I
are-
never thought
you
about
are
it
that.
in the live context. So that actual moment in time is what really triggered this thought process that snowballed into what you're seeing as Live Upon a Blackstar. So then I spent months not just sitting in a room thinking about this, but over the course of time instead of sleeping, thinking, which is usually the case, about like, what would I do if I was gonna do this, and then how would it be? And something became apparent to me, I think, somewhere along the way. I was like, I'm either gonna do this as a one-man show or a two-man show. And two-man show allows this thing to be way more musical, because me trying to pull off all the instruments, I don't want to look, it's going to look a little ridiculous in my opinion. So I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I don't think there's any person in the whole world that I would ever want to play the second position of this whole thing other than Bret. So as I customarily do, I'm like, let's go get dinner. And then I usually drop a big announcement on them, or in this case, a big request, like, hey, how do you feel about quitting your entire life for a few months or longer and being the other half of the Celldweller live show?
I fell off the chair in Baja Fresh.
He fell off the chair in Baja Fresh.
Fell off the chair in Baja Fresh.
And he wasn't even laughing. It wasn't even from laughter.
No, it was a coronary, is what that is. Very serious. Why are you laughing?
I find myself like looking at the screen, so I keep talking to you and then I look at the screen and I'm not making eye contact with the fine people on the other
Yeah,
end.
I noticed that too.
Sorry, I apologize.
I'm like, shh, I'm watching this.
Anything moving in the room, I'm like, yeah. Shh.
All it really takes to distract us is someone coming by and jangling their keys.
Woo!
Like, oh, shiny thing, there you go. And I've something else that I noticed just now with our set pieces. This completely
It sends us
offsets.
off. We have no, like, there's no stability, so we have no way to really straighten ourselves out.
Get ready for ridiculousness.
I
is
remember
probably
that.
The best
That's
way.
the dual guitar slide thing that we did.
Yes.
That was the end, so now I know that's the end of that song.
And that's
So heavy metal.
well, that and it's coming off of a song where we had total Slayer harmonies
Oh man.
on the things, because
I was so excited
yeah,
doing that song, like going, you know
because
what?
it's like Dead Mouse with Slayer guitars.
Right.
What's not awesome about that?
Why couldn't that be?
No.
Why couldn't those two things exist in a world together? There's no reason.
No.
And there's the proof. So this is actually Frozen, which, if you don't know, you can go check out our commentary specifically to the Frozen music video, the Celldweller versus Blue Stahli Frozen music video. We did an entire commentary that you probably want to watch because you're going to learn things there that we aren't going to mention here.
Equally as ridiculous as this commentary, with stories that, you know, they're entertaining. You want them.
They are entertaining. So I'm trying to remember what I did here. I think I played a keyboard in the beginning and then I mostly sang. That was Russia. I think that was Russia.
You did, and the keyboard that you were playing...
In Russia?
No, that's an awesome story, but that synth was
That is Russia. That's the Glav Club.
Fab Filter Twin.
Oh yeah, the intro to... Right.
Because I remember doing some sound design and making, like, trying to replicate that sound as best as possible.
So, like, we should talk about that process because there's so much to the show. It took a long, I mean, this thing probably took 6-8 months to basically put together.
There's a lot
Not
of
just the
prep.
music, there's video. So if any of you have not seen the Live Upon a Blackstar video or saw the live show itself, there are multiple screens behind us running video the entire show, and it's all custom. So that was all shot, which we'll go into at some point here and talk about the shooting. And again, that Frozen commentary we did, you want to check that out because we talked very specifically about that. But the conceptualizing the show, I knew I wanted to be different visually because I was always known as the Lord of Darkness, and I really was the Lord of Dorkness, you know? So I don't know, I think people had this idea that I was just this dark, brooding character, and it's like, yeah, I guess because of my lyrics, and I didn't really post many pictures, and I was never really social media friendly because I'm really not a social guy in real life, so why should I be a social guy in fake life, you know? But I became one. But thinking about this thing visually also and musically, I think this whole thing just needed to be reimagined. And I was like, the only way I'm getting on stage is if this is a completely different thing than I've ever done. That was why having a two-piece, we could be musical, you could play multiple instruments, I could play multiple instruments, and we can kind of just divvy up and make the show interesting.
Yeah.
And the whole show is a remix of all the material that existed up to there, you know? So really there were no holes barred. Like what song, what would be cool? I think some of it wasn't even based on like, do people like the song or not? It was like, oh, I came up with this beat and I think that song, that vocal would be sick over this beat.
One notion of a wanting mind, the real world begins to fade. And all the evil things I have become temporarily go away. Temporarily go away. Inside this fantasy, it seems so real to me. Synthetic ecstasy where the legs are open.
The fun moments in this journey that I love, that I actually look back on with fond memories, was going late night to those rare 24-hour like coffee places in Michigan, and
that place does not exist anymore.
it doesn't. It shut down like not too long after. We go to this one specific place, and we'd hole up with our shared Google Doc, and I'm hitting the microphone, aren't I?
Yeah, it's not.
Is this bad?
Yeah, that's
Is that
It's
bad?
bad for sound?
Yes,
It's bad for... Well,
And I do remember specifically actually while we were sitting there across the table from each other in this packed little coffee house and somebody being obnoxiously loud next to us, we were typing to each other, being the dorks that we are, typing to each other.
laptops facing each other.
Yeah, we're 20 inches from each other and our laptops facing each other, and we're typing to each other in Google Docs in real time, having a discussion about this loudmouth next to us and why they felt like they needed to have the attention of everyone in that place.
Being very loud, being very rude, this particular young lady, saying inappropriate things very, very loud, and she resembled a celebrity. So in our shared Google Doc, alongside like, oh, we should have connections like this, we should have guitars that do this, oh, we should have a section that goes like this. I typed in all caps, "Fat Lady Gaga, shut up!"
But thankfully, Fat Lady Gaga couldn't hear Bret say that.
No,
Only
because we're
Google,
nicer than that.
Yes, and only Google and myself actually knew that happened. Google, myself, and all the hackers worldwide that intercepted that transmission.
Of course.
That were hacked into our Google accounts.
They're like, well, I want to see this show, and secondly, Fat Lady Gaga should shut up.
Right. I think they all agreed.
And
We had worldwide support on that.
bear in mind, that's not actual. Anyone who's looking to get all riled up. That's not actual Lady Gaga. This is someone who resembled a larger version of Lady Gaga, who I'm sure...
She was larger at some point.
Yeah,
anyway,
I'm sure Stephanie's very nice, but this girl was not.
Welcome to a world where the air I breathe is mine. Nothing to overwhelm me and nothing to cloud my mind. Be anyone, do anything I'd ever wanna try. Time doesn't exist here. Slip into a world where the air I breathe is mine. Nothing to overwhelm me and nothing to cloud my mind. Come with me into it and you know what you will find. Time doesn't exist here. We will never die.
This was I remember this being kind of a cool part of the show, was taking a song, to me, that was like one of the oldest Celldweller songs that existed, Own Little World. I was so tired of hearing it, I never wanted to hear it again. And I remember actually sitting there one night and playing this riff on these high notes that I was just writing to this beat. I had this halftime beat. And then I ran it through like the micro synth or some kind of like octave kind of bass thing, and it turned into this low fuzzy thing, and I had this riff. And I don't remember if we were together when that happened, but somewhere along the way, I just started thinking like, what songs could I put over this? And Own Little World, I started singing the chorus over this, and I was like, this is what Own Little World needs to be, not this double time. I was originally going for like a punk rocky kind of thing, which of course is not punk rock, but it is what it is. But this song became something completely different. So it was really cool. This was one we actually really loved to play live.
Absolutely.
This went off live pretty well.
People, like, when everything kicked in, when that riff came in, people went crazy. And it was, we fed off of that energy. Like, that's for any show you go to, or when you see us again later, we love to see you have a good time, and that's why we're there. And one of the things that I could never wrap my head around, because I didn't have to sing for this show. It's a Celldweller show. I'm there playing other stuff. I don't have vocals in a Celldweller song, so I play instruments for the live show. What always blew my mind about this one was how you could play that riff and sing the chorus at the same time, because that would freak me right the hell out.
Yeah, mucho practico, which I don't really know if that's actually the correct Spanish. I'm
We'll
willing
put
to
it down below
I'm
the
willing to
screen.
bet that it's not even close, but I'm going to say it anyway, and I'm going to pretend, for the people who don't know, you could pretend I just spoke in Spanish.
That's right.
Mucho gracias. So, that was something I definitely had to practice. That was not like, I'm not this guy that just sits down and just like riffs and I can talk at the same time. The thing is that I used actually some of my skills, or whatever you want to call them, that I picked up as a drummer. We had to learn independence between limbs, and I working through the drums as a kid, I couldn't understand how I could play two different things with. How do I do two different things with my arms? I don't understand how I can have this one going like this and this one going like this. And that principle had to come into play anytime I was going to play a guitar riff and sing. I had to practice it and muscle memory. So I figured it out and pulled it off. But don't ask me to do it now, because I couldn't even remember the riff. I don't remember how the riff goes.
That's while we were in practice mode and in performance mode. Yeah, we did rehearse this so much that a lot of it just became automatic. That's not to say that mistakes did not happen, because they were plentiful.
Oh, we're gonna get into some of those mistakes.
Oh yeah, and muscle memory. I have a story that ties into that with Louder Than Words.
I think you need to share it. Which is this Louder Than Words? Oh, it's
Symbiont. Although this ties into the mistakes.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, that does.
Los Angeles.
Yeah, do we want to talk about that now? That's a long one.
That is a long one.
Let's just talk about the filming of maybe the Symbiont footage or something. Or something more.
Well, there is something funny with the...
There was a lot of stuff that's funny. My chair keeps rotating. Help me. Lord help me. So, again, this is another one of these songs that I never wanted to hear again. Symbiont was the first Celldweller song that I ever wrote. The very first song that I ever wrote as Celldweller, and not any other side project. This was specifically for this new thing I was going to do called Celldweller. This is the first song. So I clearly had no desire at all to just relive the same thing I had been hearing for 10 years or however long it was. So this one had to be completely reimagined, and I often drive around listening to my own demos, because I write demos, I forget that I write them, and then when it's time to write a new song, I sift through demos, and if there's anything that strikes something at the moment, I might be like, that might be a cool idea as a starting point. And this is one of those cases where I had this one pad and I wrote this melody out, And as I was driving in the car, because we were almost daily talking about live show and how the songs are going to be produced, and I remember driving in the car, I was by myself, and this background pad that you actually played live, the demo of that popped on, and I started going, what would fit over this? So I kept playing it back, and I'm like, let me try Symbiont, and sure enough, I started singing this, and I was like, this could be cool. And I changed a few notes, went back and changed a few notes, and then we were like, okay, cool. What's cool about this is you're playing almost all of the music live, and I'm singing, and the only other thing left is really percussion that's being flown in, which you can see on the screens because we filmed me, you can see it right there. We filmed me playing these basically makeshift drums, right? That we found, like these old chemical drums, and I think Chuck had found a way to light them creatively. And
my favorite was at the end of that, it was like the last take, and you were just like, you were taking it out on those drums, and I just remembered we were using some sort of pipes.
PVC pipes.
Yeah, it was PVC pipes, and you could see it in the video, it just keeps whittling down chunk by chunk as he takes it down to a bare nub, and that was the last shot.
I think by the time it was done, I was holding it like this in pieces because they were taped. Pieces of this shattered PVC was just hanging off the tape, and I think I had the little nub left in my hands.
I think that shot's in the video too.
Yeah, I
of
think
that stuff holding.
Right,
yeah.
you see some, like, if you pay attention, if you have the Live Upon a Blackstar, I'm talking to the monitor, by the way. I'm not looking at the camera. I'm talking to myself on the screen. If you have the Live Upon a Blackstar video, as I scoot around, if you have the Live Upon a Blackstar video, if you watch Symbiont and watch the backing video, and you'll see that exact thing. Little dangling PVC hanging off my stick.
It's a happy accident that wound up looking really cool and making that video.
Speaking of really cool and muscle memory,
that's right.
I know you have a story about Louder Than Words.
really
Especially
do.
this part right here that you're about to step up and play. Thank you for sticking with us all the way to the end of part 1 of the Live Upon a Blackstar commentary. As always, make sure to subscribe to my channel, like or share this video, and subscribe to Bret's channel.
Which is youtube.com/Blue Stahli. It's my name.
Very easy. Please join us for part 2, and eventually part 3 of the Live Upon a Blackstar commentary.